Just listen to that bird song. We're still very much in winter, but spring is now around the corner. And today I've decided to come out and photograph the beautiful snowdrops that are in absolute abundance right now. They're so beautiful. A lovely symbol of purity, of hope, of new beginnings, and of course, of the end of winter and that very soon transition into spring. And wow, to be greeted with birdsong like this is such a blessing. Oh look, I have just found beautiful feathers. Look at that. We've had quite a lot of wind in recent days, and I'm noticing a lot of these snowdrops are quite battered, and they seem to be kind of, I don't think you're going to be able to see it because it's tracking my face, but yeah, they're quite battered, some of these snowdrops, but they're certainly out in abundance. Wow, there's just small patches where I am, but then I look around, I'm walking carefully through the trees to make sure that I don't accidentally stand on any, and then we get to areas like this where they really are in abundance. So beautiful. I tend to feel really rejuvenated at this time of year. It's like seeing the first signs of flowers and new growth in nature. It really fills me with so much joy. It's like this reminder of all the beauty that is to come as we progress through spring and of course make our way into summer. And snowdrops is something that I photographed the last 2, if not 3 years. I know they're a very, very popular subject for photography at this time of year, but until a couple of years ago it wasn't something that I'd done much photographing of. I did come here probably about 6-7 years ago and attempted to photograph them in a landscape image and didn't have much luck and never tried again until I was introduced to macro photography a couple of years ago, and then suddenly they became a really exciting photographic subject. So today I'm back at the same location that I came to photograph the snowdrops last year, and I created some of my favourite images from last year. And those images I recently shared in an online workshop I was doing, and I was asked the participants a question, is there anything you see in these images that you've never seen before? And we went through a couple of them and had a really thought-provoking discussion. It was lovely. And today I've come back to the exact same spot that I photographed those snowdrops in last year. There's been a lot of work in this woodland since then, removing dead trees and things like that. So it's a lot messier than it was last year. But I'm so happy to see that the snowdrops are still here in abundance. And last year we had partially frozen water droplets on them, which allowed for a really nice images. Today it's a bit milder, not that warm, but we certainly don't have any frozen water droplets on the snowdrops. So let's see what sort of images I can create to add to that snowdrop collection and see what the snowdrops have to show me this year. Last year when I was photographing these snowdrops, I saw a number of characters within them. There was this image here that reminded me of a loving couple as they were holding each other in an embrace with their heads together in a loving manner. Then there was this image here where I saw a being. The two water droplets resembled eyes, and the petals of the snowdrop were like arms, and it was looking at the stem of the snowdrop, which also had a water droplet on it that to me resembled an eye. And to me, these two parts of the snowdrop were looking at each other, really seeing each other, really connecting on a really deep level. And I found that image especially very, very emotive. So today, while I'm looking at these snowdrops, I'm seeing characters once more, and I'm reconnecting with this element of the flower. We all view the world differently, and our minds all work in very different ways. For me, I can be quite imaginative, and I quite like to see these parts of nature, the flowers, the snowdrops, as beings. After all, they are alive, and because of that, I see them as these like alive beings, these alive creatures, and I see little characters within them. And I often see that personification of nature reflecting back to me elements of the human condition. And I think flowers especially are quite easy subjects to feel that sort of personification element to them, because they're like these little beings in themselves, these little communities that come out and they flourish together, they nurture each other like a little family. You know, this cluster of snowdrops that I've just been photographing here, you know, it's like a little family in amongst the woodlands, growing together, supporting each other, interacting with each other, you know, growing and flourishing together, weathering the wind and the storms. You've got the small little baby ones, and then you've got the bigger adult ones in this beautiful group, this family group. And then as you progress over to some of the other areas where you've got an even bigger abundance of them, like over here, it's like this community that's been set up, growing and flourishing together and supporting each other in this lovely area here. To me, when I view nature in this way, it makes me so happy, like it fills me with so much joy. The snowdrops in themselves make me smile because they're beautiful in their own right. But then when I really connect with them and just allow, I guess, like this childlike wonder, this childlike imagination to be switched on, and to see them in this way, these beautiful communities, these beautiful families, these beautiful groups of snowdrops together supporting each other, I don't know, it just fills me with so much joy. And for me anyway, it's such a lovely way to view the world and to view nature. And maybe this is one of the reasons why when I come out into nature I feel so alive and I feel so connected, because it's like this whole world of discovery. You never know what you're going to come across and what it's going to evoke within you. But today I'm just smiling as I'm standing here looking at this community of snowdrops that are growing and flourishing together in this woodland, which, if you look at it on a grander scale, it's gone through quite a lot of destruction over the last few years, with many trees falling down and having to be cleared and felled. But yet, this little group here of snowdrops are still growing and flourishing. That seed of new beginnings and what's to come as the rest of the year unfolds. Oh, and I just feel so much emotion for this little guy here. Look, we've got this one single snowdrop growing completely on its own amongst these logs. I don't know whether I feel sorry for him, this sense of loneliness and isolation, or whether he's enjoying his solitude. A question that I used to get asked quite a lot was, I used to speak a lot about creating stories in my images, and it can be quite hard to comprehend that. How do you create a story out of a static, two-dimensional image? How do you create a story in that? But I think the more we as photographers feel when we're out with our camera, the more we connect to our subject, the more we see it, the more we witness it, the more we connect with our bodies, as I like to do. Like I feel within myself what it's evoking within me. I can't always identify an emotion, but I know when I see something that it lights me up, and then I feel into that, and as I look at something more deeply, that sensation gets stronger and stronger, and it fills me with these really beautiful feelings and sensations. And I then feel that when I pick up my camera and I've got this beautiful piece of equipment, this modern technology in my hands, that those sensations, those feelings that the subject in nature evokes within me is then able to be transported into the camera and therefore into the images that I create. And then I could put that image in front of 100 different people, and everybody would see something a little bit different to the others. There'd be some overlap between some people, but there'd also be many different interpretations of that image. But because it was photographed from this place of heightened emotion and sensation, this place of inspiration, and then being able to really tune into that and deepen that, it means when those 100 people look at the image, they'll all see something. It'll evoke something within them. It may not be the same emotion, it may not be the same sensations, they may not see the same characters that I see, but more often than not, they will feel something, which is very different to when we simply go out and go, oh, that's nice, click, click, snap, I'll shoot this quickly. When we actually look around us and go, oh, look at that, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Let's get closer to it, let's really look at it, let's connect with it. And then create an image out of how we feel, what we're seeing, and also what the subject wants us to see. It's a different approach to photography, and also a different approach, I think, to life as well. And not different as in better or worse than other ways of approaching life, but just different as in it puts us into a different state. It allows us to connect with different parts of ourselves, the more creative, imaginative part of ourselves. And again, we're all different. We will view photography differently, but for me, photography is a tool for creation, to connect with the world and to create images based on what I as a photographer is seeing and what I am being drawn towards. And just like an artist would spend time on their painting to really allow it to come to life, I personally choose to spend time with my subjects, and especially those subjects that make me smile, because then that really shows in my images. I just thought I'd share that because maybe if you're struggling with your photography in some way, or you're even struggling in life, you're struggling to see the beauty around you, maybe going out with this approach of, let's find something that lights me up. And when I do, let's crouch down beside it and really admire it. Take in its beauty and take a deep breath, connect with our bodies, feel what we feel, and just see if it brings a little bit more joy, wonder, curiosity into your life. And then if you are a photographer, see how that changes or enhances the images that you then go on to make. I guess what I was trying to say there is that I see myself as a part of nature, that nature's not separate to me, I am a part of it. And I very nearly said that nature is an extension of me, And then I quickly realised that that's not right, because if I was to say that nature was an extension of me, then that would imply that I am better than nature. I am a part of nature. Nature is a part of me. We are one. I have thoroughly enjoyed coming out here today and photographing these snowdrops. And the birdsong has made it even more enjoyable. I could just sit here all day and listen to them singing amongst the trees. I'd like to end this video by saying, if you have snowdrops near you, I'm aware that we are now coming towards the end of the season of them. And of course, if you're watching this video at another time of year or in another country, you may not have access to these. But I would invite you, if you do, and they're still around, to head out and to connect with them. To just take a moment to sit and admire these beautiful flowers. For us here in the UK, they are one of the first flowers that makes an appearance at the start of the year, when we're still in winter before spring has even arrived. And to me, that's a real symbol of strength, of resilience, of pushing through that frozen ground and coming out into the cold and still flourishing. They're also a fantastic symbol of hope. Hope that the days are now getting longer, that the cold, dark winter is nearing its end. Hope of new opportunities to come, the new opportunities that spring brings us, the more light, the more energy, that fresh new beginning, the abundance of what is still to come in nature. And they're also a fantastic symbol of peace and purity because of the colour white. So if you've been struggling this winter, for whatever reason that may be, maybe getting out amongst the snowdrops and sitting in their presence for a little while, and if you have your camera, photographing them so you can connect with them more deeply and really see their beauty. Especially if you are fortunate to have something like a macro lens or a zoom lens that you can zoom into them and see aspects that your eye struggles to see. You'll begin to notice elements of the snowdrop that you maybe have never seen before, like the stamen in the middle, tiny little water droplets on their petals. They actually have this shininess to their petals as well, which is really difficult to see with the eye. But with a macro lens, it's easier. And the beautiful, delicate petals as they cross over and create almost like a cloak or a dress over the internal aspects of the flower itself. And I love as well all of the shoots around the snowdrops. Of course, the flowers themselves are beautiful, but actually these strong green shoots, leaves, stems surrounding them are equally as beautiful to witness. And I think when we surround ourselves with things like this, in the natural environment that are happening right now, and we really tune into them, we can take some of their lessons into our life. I hope you've enjoyed this video today and it's given you some things to ponder in your own life and photographic journey. As always, I want to say a huge thank you for watching. May you get out into nature this week and have your own little adventure amongst the beauty of this time of year, wherever you may be in the world. Wishing you a very blessed and creative week.